Well, welcome into the That's Good Broncos podcast. I'm Brandon Perna here with Will Keys. Today's episode is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. If you're going to use DraftKings to do some sports betting this weekend, I would not bet on the Broncos signing Colin Kaepernick now or ever. Don't know if there are any odds there. I'm not sure what the line is on the Broncos game, but if you're feeling optimistic, even though every ounce of logic should tell you they're going to lose to the Buccaneers, I think they're going to beat the Buccaneers. That is my gut speaking. So make sure you use promo code DNVR when you download the DraftKings app if you're into messing around with a little bit of sports betting on this football weekend. Hopefully not as many injuries. So I just want teams to walk away healthy, and we'll see if that happens. Today, though, we wanted to talk about, I thought this was interesting. The Broncos signed Blake Bortles to add depth to the backup position. Blake Bortles is not coming in to start, everybody. And then today, a little bit bigger piece of news. Drew Lock is not being placed on IR because they think he could be back in as soon as 3 games. So they're going to just keep him on the active roster. But I wanted to talk to you today, Will, because every time a backup quarterback transaction happens around the league, Colin Kaepernick's name gets mentioned, especially on places like ESPN. They really, really want to get that Colin Kaepernick story out there as much as possible, which, all right, I get, whatever. He got blackballed. We all agree he got blackballed. But there was no chance in hell John Elway was even thinking about Colin Kaepernick. No. So the national media wants to use the Broncos for their political narrative against Colin Kaepernick. Blake Bortles makes a lot more sense for the Broncos right now. But when I thought about quarterback-wise, even not playing for 4 years, I'm not sure if Blake Bortles is better than Colin Kaepernick. Now, I think he definitely wasn't when they were both playing, but I wanted to talk about the practical reasons why the Broncos would not sign Kaepernick, and maybe get your thoughts on Blake Bortles coming into Denver, because that was also like this giant story, but it's just because it's Blake Bortles. Like, it's a name that's got a lot of sauce with it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, no, you're exactly right, and it comes down to the name, because everyone recognizes the name Blake Bortles. And, despite like being synonymous with, I don't know, like pretty terrible mechanics, more bad years than good in Jacksonville, a lot of just really ugly interceptions, probably holding the team back, even though, he played well enough to get them to the AFC Championship. And it's not like in the playoffs that they, the rest of the team they didn't drag him there. He played well enough to actually make it, and played decent, at least in the first half against the Patriots. But yeah, I mean,
games that season.
Right. If they signed some like no-namer, it probably wouldn't have been a story. But Bortles is still better than a lot of the no-namers out there. I mean, we can talk about this too, but I figured that they're going to promote Brett Rippon to the active squad, because he's been there for over a year. Like, you're trying – obviously you're trying to develop a backup, but developing a backup to the point of becoming the number 2 quarterback shouldn't take more than a year, I think. It feels like a necessary project.
What's weird with Brett Rippon is they paid extra money to secure him.
Yeah.
And then they cut him, brought him back on the practice squad, and then they basically did that same thing this offseason. So he's either not impressing the right people there, or he really does just needs some more work. Like, I don't know if you're going to –
He does. Yeah, I mean, that's fair, because, when I think about it, didn't have didn't have a preseason really to get any snaps whatsoever.
Yeah.
Where I think last year he was at least getting some at the end of games. To be honest, I don't really remember how he looked or if I really ever watched him play.
Yeah,
I know he played in that Hall of Fame game.
I don't think he looked like anything during
Yeah,
the
I think he was just like, pretty
was
much there.
He was no Kyle Sloter, also out there available.
Yeah, he wasn't the Slaughterhouse.
Slaughterhouse.
Yeah, I mean that one's Slaughter's always gonna it's always gonna be on the tip of people's tongues because of that 2017 preseason.
Yep.
And I don't know. I mean, he got passed up for a bigger name too, Brock Osweiler. When it comes down to it, like when you're trying to sell hope too, who do you want? Like some guy like Garrett Grayson or Blake Bortles? Bortles might be really, really bad. It's very possible, but
yeah,
you go into like being able to like talk yourself into something, being like, well, this guy almost made it to the Super Bowl.
This guy
he can make something good happen for a few games at least.
This guy Blake Bortles could sell 5,700 tickets at the home games.
Hey, you could sell some jerseys.
You might be able to sell some Broncos. Hey, I would take a Broncos Bortles jersey. That would be a nice jersey to. I don't collect jerseys. Sometimes people are like, "What jersey you wearing this Sunday?" I don't wear jerseys. I like that people assume I do. I'm trying to think if there would be another obscure Broncos, like a Jerry Rice Broncos jersey, a Blake Bortles Broncos jersey.
Yeah, Christian Ponder.
Oh, was he a Bronco?
Yeah, he's a Bronco in 2015.
I don't even remember that shit.
Yeah, no, that was like I think he was the backup in that game, the Patriots game, the Sunday Night Patriots game. I'm pretty sure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Behind Brocky Osweiler.
Yeah, I mean he was one ankle injury away from Christian Ponder stepping in.
Yeah.
And that would have changed the course of history, really.
Definitely.
I don't think Christian Ponder leads that comeback.
No, that game was pivotal in propelling the Broncos to the Super Bowl.
You think that's like maybe your favorite regular season game? It might be mine.
I was there, so it's definitely
true.
It's got like it takes up a big portion of what few memories my brain can retain.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I was at the 2007 Week 2 Raiders game that went to overtime, and they did the fake timeout. That's where the fake timeout was, or not the fake timeout.
I was there
last
too.
Timeout was invented.
I was at that game. Yeah, when Shanahan iced the kick. We've probably talked about this before.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like
Janikowski kicks the game winner. Shanahan used the timeout, made him do it again. He misses. I was like the only person in my section who realized what happened too.
I did too. Yeah, as a mere 11-year-old, I was like, "Whoa! I think they blew the whistle. Like, don't get up yet." Yeah. I knew something happened, and then everyone was like, "Oh!" And then I started walking out.
I was screaming, "Something happened! It doesn't count!" I was like 22 probably at the time.
Back down. Yeah. Where were you sitting? Maybe next to each other.
I don't know. Awesome. They were good seats. I was on the first level somewhere.
Okay. I was in the south stands. Where I've sat every single time in that stadium.
Nice.
Yeah. Very nice. Okay. I mean, I'll miss the days of going like sitting in the 7th row in the Coliseum for like $25.
Yeah, you can't do that anymore. Okay. Oh. Bortles, Kaepernick, a not stoking the fire of your political beliefs type conversation. Yeah. Just if you're thinking about this from a football perspective, and it's actually interesting in my eyes to put Kaepernick next to Bortles because I think Bortles is that bad of a quarterback, and I think Kaepernick not playing for 4 years is that big of an obstacle to overcome for the position that it would make me go back and forth on who I'd want to sign if there was no controversy around Kaepernick. But if you're John Elway, let me tell you why he didn't sign him. Number one reason is money. Have you paid attention to what the Broncos are doing? It is not spending money right now, whether that's Elway or the trust who controls the team. They wouldn't pay Clay Matthews. They wouldn't pay Cameron Wake, two guys they both reached out to when Von Miller went down, and they couldn't agree to terms, which means the Broncos didn't want to fucking pay them what those guys thought they were worth. So they're not going to overspend on a position, especially when it's a backup position to the guy you paid to be the backup quarterback this year. And from what I think the impression is, Kaepernick's not playing for the vet minimum like Bortles is willing to do. So you get a guy who started a ton of games. If he has to go in for Jeff Driscoll, you feel decent about that with Blake Bortles. He's played football more recently than Colin Kaepernick. And quarterbacks, like quarterbacks need reps. So yes, Colin Kaepernick can stay in football shape, but he's not practicing, he's not reading defenses, he's not even a good fit in Pat Shurmur's offense. Has Shurmur worked with a quarterback even close to what Kaepernick's strengths are? I don't think so. So those are all. Case
Keenum, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, not playing since 2016. Maybe being a wrong fit for the offense. Probably not where the money needs to be. All good reasons for Elway not to sign him. Also, John Elway holds grudges.
Oh, we know that. Yeah, I mean, that's the most, obvious thing about that is that, Colin Kaepernick had the chance to join the Broncos back in 2016, which indicates that Kaepernick is like what Elway wants out of a quarterback, or, he likes what he sees in terms of athleticism, and I guess a few other things. But man, no, it's never going to happen like primarily for that reason. I think Elway has like his pretty clear political beliefs away from football, but I think he's like too savvy of a businessman to let it shade what he does as a general manager. And I think he's generally like pretty agnostic as far as the politics of football.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. I think he's more competitive than he is loyal to some sort of ideology.
Yeah.
So I think,
definitely.
I think it's like this for Elway: competitive. What's the money? And then maybe he would let some sort of weird X factor, determine his decision for a player.
It feels like we're describing Daniel Plainview from There Will Be Blood. Way. Competitive first. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Competition first. He's got a competition in him. Yeah. And then someone shows up to his office like claiming to be his brother, and like within the next 24 hours he's dead.
Yes.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know who turns into who becomes Paul Dano in that situation. Just keep the bowling pins away from him.
Yeah, dude, that movie's so good.
I know. It's a good watch.
A lot of people can't watch it because it's long. Oh, it's long.
Fucking nerds.
It is a brilliant filmmaking.
Yeah.
And here's the biggest reason. Okay, and this is like I felt like this was the lost message, at least on football Twitter. Drew Lock's coming back.
Yeah. That's the craziest shit. It's like it's going to be 2 or 3 weeks.
It's 3, maybe 2 to 3 good side, 4 or 5 bad side. He's coming back.
He's going to get at least half a season, This isn't – exactly. That's a great point.
You let's say you brought in Kaepernick and he played really well.
Or just okay.
or okay, you don't really want there to be any sort of controversy about going back to Drew Lock as your quarterback, because we believe he's the quarterback moving forward. I think a lot of people just forgot that yesterday. Like, okay, let's tank for Trevor Lawrence. Like, Drew Lock's going to be back. I don't think the Broncos are going to be good this season. I think they might end up with a high draft pick, but they're
not going to be bad enough to get Trevor Lawrence. That's just like pretty ridiculous. They almost they almost beat the Steelers on the road last week. Although I should probably stop saying on the road. They almost beat the AFC finalist Titans, who look like good enough to go back, and then had a really good chance to beat the Steelers with their B team out there. So no, they're gonna win. They're gonna win a few games.
Yeah, I believe they will definitely win a few games.
You think they're going to win? You think they're going to win this Sunday?
I think there's a chance they can win Sunday.
I do too. I think it'll be close.
I don't think they will win, but I think they have a good chance to win.
It feels like another just heartbreaking one-score loss.
Yeah, I think so. Tom Brady is he's like 7-6 or 8-7 against the Broncos. It's a one-game differential.
No, it's the other way around. He has a losing record.
He's 7-8 or 6-7, right? He has a losing record.
Yeah.
I just think he is destined to not have a losing record against the Broncos because everything always works out for him. That's what makes me think the Buccaneers will win this game, not that all of the Broncos are hurt, Will.
No, I mean, it feels like
I am.
I don't know. Like, the loss of Cortland Sutton is massive, obviously, but at the same time, not to be like a fucking annoying optimist, but you get to see KJ Hamler, who played really well on Sunday. Then you get to see more of Jerry Jeudy, who obviously I think is going to be a stud. It's already on the way to being there. And then you're like, okay, well, Tim Patrick's pretty good. Deshaun Hamilton's a really nice fourth option. And then, it's like it's the Noah Fant show. Like, Noah Fant looks like he's the number one receiver on that offense.
Yeah, no, Fant is like the guy who can pick up what Cortland Sutton would do.
Yeah.
I still don't know like where they're at with Albert O. I would say you don't need Nick Vanette on the field ever at all. Give me Jake
I feel like he's like specifically a blocking guy.
Yeah, well then why do you throw to him when he's falling on his ass?
That's fair. That's a good question.
I should have no hard feelings towards Nick Vanette. I've just chosen to use him as a scapegoat.
Yeah. I think
he's done.
Just pick like one random bystander in a bad season and pin everything on him.
Sorry, Nick. My apologies.
Yeah.
You know what?
We were so bad in 2017 because of Zaire Anderson.
Ooh, Zaire Anderson.
Yeah, he was the reason we didn't go 12-4 that year.
Great callback. You know what else is a great callback? At the beginning of this episode, I mentioned it is sponsored by DraftKings. Yes. And it is still sponsored by DraftKings, even in the middle part of this episode. Right now, at the DraftKings Sportsbook, all new users have the chance to turn $1 into $100. So you can bet on any team, any game with $1, and if that team wins, they pay out $100. Does that sound like a good deal to you, Will?
I'm going to have to break out my calculator, and I'll tell you later.
Ooh. While Will checks the math on that, you can bet on other sports at DraftKings, obviously. Right now, UFC 253 this weekend. For any of you MMA fans, you can place your bet at DraftKings. And DraftKings is a safe, reliable – we'll check the math. It is 100.
I divided 100 by 1, and it turns out it's 100 times bigger.
Wow.
Yeah.
How? I could not have seen that math coming. And note, he uses the same iPhone calculator as I do. What was I saying? DraftKings is safe, reliable, secure. So it's easy for you to deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. So download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code DNVR when you sign up to get this offer. Pick any team during week 3, bet $1 on them to win, bet $1 on them and win $100 if they win. That's $1 to $100. The math checks out with Will when you use promo code DNVR during sign-up for a limited time, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. Eligibility restrictions apply. So see DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Boom. That's how you do it.
Not one, but two excellent DraftKings reads.
They call me Mr. King of Reads that are the drafts.
You know who wasn't the king of reads last time he played? Colin Kaepernick.
Ooh.
Had a tough time reading the field. He was in a bad Chip Kelly offense. Let's be fair. That was a historically bad 49ers team. And he was going back and forth with Blaine Gabbert that year.
Yep.
Who, by the way, is the backup in Tampa Bay still. Wouldn't that be great if we got a Jeff Driscoll, Blaine Gabbert showdown on Sunday? Yeah.
I wouldn't mind
Brady's
that.
Every day hurt, so.
I'm not going to say what that. Yeah, I'm not going to say what that means, but I would.
Brady gets benched due to bad performance.
Oh, that would be my dream come true.
Or maybe he gets an injection of I don't fucking know, whatever into his lungs. Some kind of TB12 substance that he did himself.
Probably Toradol going into your broken ribs, and the doctor just punctures your fucking lungs because they couldn't cut it to be a Los Angeles doctor.
God. That's
Tyrod Taylor shit is crazy.
I know, and that's why, as good as Justin Herbert played on Sunday, it makes sense that Anthony Lynn would say, Tyrod's still going to start for us next Sunday, because to, lose your job after getting stabbed in the lungs by the team doctor, that's pretty tough. I feel like he deserves at least one more start. Then we'll move on to Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I mean, I respect Anthony Lynn's respect for his guys.
I do too.
But after seeing Herbert handle it, if I were the coach, I would have just been like, yeah, we're going with Herbert, Tyrod. Sorry.
Or you have to find a new way to injure Tyrod 10 seconds before every kickoff.
Yeah.
So Herbert never has to worry about becoming the starter a week in advance, and you keep the other team off guard.
Yeah, he's been ruled out as the starter. Doctors advised him to not play with a hole in his lungs. And I would have to imagine he's more at risk for a lung-based virus that's going around right now. So, just stay at home. He was already trying to play with cracked ribs.
Right.
That's what's really shitty is you're trying to use some medical magic so you can play through having cracked ribs, which broken ribs, cracked ribs, incredibly painful injuries to deal with. Knowing you're going to go out there and probably get hit more. Yeah. That's got to admire Tyrod Taylor.
I mean, the way – because there's a clip of him walking off the field on Sunday, and he looked like he was, fine. But knowing now that he had his lungs punctured with a needle and still kind of walking off very calmly is – one of the toughest things I've ever seen. Yeah,
it's he's a man's man, and he has just had he's had Josh Rosen type fortune throughout his NFL career. He's gotten more chances than Rosen, but and he's just an average quarterback.
Better too. Yeah.
Tyrod
that's the best way to ensure that your rookie quarterback has a really strong 13-game season.
Yeah, and if you think about it, Anthony Lynn, say Herbert comes out this week and bombs, He's already set himself up to be able to sort of go back to Tyrod without it looking like
he's pulling Herbert.
Right. So that's actually probably pretty smart on Anthony Lynn's part.
Yeah, I mean, he could be like, Herbert's just filling in while we, put some duct tape on Tyrod's lungs or whatever they do to fix that. Maybe some Flex Seal.
Yeah, they have you drink whatever you shoot into, like your bike tires to fill the hole patches, that green slime.
Yeah, once that starts working, then Tyrod gets back in the lineup until he plays really bad. Which he's never gonna do. He's never gonna throw 4 interceptions.
No, your team will always have a chance.
Some close games, or they'll lose some close games, I guess.
Yeah, because he's not gonna throw for 350 and 4 touchdowns.
No, probably not. I mean, Herbert might not either, but
Tyrod's his luckiest NFL moment is when Von Miller got flagged for faking his handshake, and the Bills went on to win that game.
Yeah, and they went on to make the playoffs too, and they probably don't make the playoffs without that.
And who do they lose to in the playoffs? The Blake Bortles baby.
We're gonna actually discuss this eventually.
And that was maybe one of the most boring playoff games I've ever seen.
That was rough.
I was like, neither one of these teams deserve to be in the playoffs. And then the Jags handle the Steelers, and then they almost beat the Patriots. But the Patriots went on to lose to the Eagles. Would you rather see the Jags bounce the Patriots there or keep the Patriots losing to the Eagles in the Super Bowl?
I mean, it depends what kind of game we get in Super Bowl 52, but just the novelty of seeing Blake Bortles versus Nick Foles in the Super Bowl, and really just seeing the Jaguars in the Super Bowl is, I don't know. I want to see that. And that's actually really interesting because Jacksonville's defense was so good that year that I think they probably would have matched up well against the Eagles. It would have been a lower scoring game. Not saying the Jags win, but
much lower scoring game.
I think I do want to see that because that game gets brought up as a credit to Tom Brady now because he threw for 500 yards.
Big deal. You lost.
Yeah. Still one of the most exciting Super Bowls I've seen.
It was a great Super Bowl for sure.
I guess I'll keep it. And great to see the Patriots lose as always. So
yeah, I had some faith restored back into humanity that day.
Yeah, and then taken all away the next year with the most boring Super Bowl that I don't think anyone remembers already. Rams, Patriots.
Oh, was that just the following season?
That was the next season, yeah.
Oh.
Do you remember anything about that?
I remember Jared Goff missing
Brandon Cooks. Yeah, that was
remember that?
That was rough.
I remember really hoping CJ Anderson was going to be the difference maker in that game because he kind of carried the Rams through the playoffs. It was a really cool story to watch. He retired too, just 2 weeks ago or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't played for a while. Didn't know he wasn't retired, but he's officially retired. And I've been trying to get Aqib Talib on our podcast. I shot him a message. I shot their new podcast Twitter account. His co-host followed me. I want to do it this week because Talib played for the Bucs. He played with Brady. And, of course, he was, with the Broncos. I can't imagine
great Broncos,
a better guy to actually talk about the game this week than Talib. I don't know if they'll do it, but fingers crossed, Will. Be ready in case that happens tomorrow.
Would you wear a chain onto the show?
No.
Knowing he could probably find a way to snatch it.
It would be such a
reach through the computer.
I could do it. I could do that effect to make it look cool. I would just say, Talib, make sure you have a chain and you pull it away, and then I would be able to make mine disappear so it looked like he got it through the screen.
Oh, that would be
a great idea. I thought it'd be cool if I were able to interview football players and ask them all of the questions they don't want to be asked. and they get really just sort of almost like between two ferns, right?
Mm-hmm.
But let them be in on the joke so it's not obviously weird for them, and then they could flip it around on me. But I'm not saying Talib would do that, but today I thought I could ask him some really good questions for an awkward interview. I
We
wouldn't
could
do
get
it.
Jim Everett on the show and just repeat the Jim Rome interview verbatim.
Oh,
Just call him Chris the whole time.
yeah. Is that where he tried to tackle him or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or did tackle him?
Yeah.
I forget what happened.
That was pretty great too. I mean, the webcam, the Zoom barrier just gives you so much false courage.
Oh yeah,
that you can really ask anything.
that's true. Before we leave, how'd you feel about those Nuggets last night?
You know what?
Were you watching?
I did watch, and it feels like something went right for them finally. The Lakers missed a lot of open threes, so I'm worried that that's going to even out in the next game. But I like their chances. They're just they play better backed up.
They do. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it was almost a good thing to happen to go down 2-0.
What I
It's a
noticed,
dangerous lead.
I want you to tell me if this is a decent basketball take or observation as someone who doesn't I don't feel like I know enough about basketball to really feel comfortable talking about it in videos and shit. Okay. Jokic, solid pretty much all the time. When Jamal Murray is playing well, the Nuggets are incredibly hard to beat.
Yep.
But it's when they get production from one other guy other than those two. So like Jeremy Grant last night was really good for the Nuggets. And if
like Monte Morris or someone like that.
Right. When they get the production from that third guy is when they're able to win like all of these tough games. Is that sort of like a fair assessment? Like you can always rely on, Jokic and Murray. And then when Murray sort of is playing at that elevated level, they're really good, but they still need that third guy to, sink some of those threes or wherever it is they're shooting from.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's
a better way to sort of paint that picture.
No, I think that's a perfectly viable basketball take. I think you could throw in too, like you need Jokic to attack first and then facilitate second.
Right.
Not play passively, not play for the assist, but play for the bucket.
Yeah. And
she did last night.
He did. He had to play aggressively. That fourth quarter was ridiculously bad Nuggets basketball. The amount of turnovers was really hard to watch. But another thought I've had is if the Nuggets had prime Melo on this team, a guy who his best attribute was just driving to the rim. Like I feel like that's kind of what this team misses. Maybe that's like the style of basketball is you're feeding the ball around to get perimeter shots open, but it seems like unless it's Murray, they don't have a guy who's consistently just going to drive it in. One, to get more foul shots, but two, like I don't know. It seems like when they're losing games, it's because they're trying to take all these perimeter shots that aren't falling, and they don't have a way to.
Yeah, I mean that should be Paul Millsap, but he's had a really, really bad postseason run here.
Gotcha.
And that's like kind of the crazy thing because if he just started playing well randomly, they'd be real, real tough to beat.
Interesting. How old is Millsap?
He's pretty old. He's been around for a while. He was on Utah back in like the mid to late 2000s. He's an older player.
35. He's my age.
Might just be getting a little long in the tooth.
All right, that's all my
basketball years, not in
Quarterback years.
Video years, video production years.
Do you think Michael Porter Jr. can turn into that guy for them? That extra scoring piece?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He might be that now. But he's just a little inconsistent.
Yeah, I mean, he's really young.
But, yeah, he's definitely he's the third option for sure in terms of usage.
Is there after this season, is there like a trade piece? The Nuggets, is there a guy they could acquire?
That's a good question. Yeah, his name is Giannis.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough one.
Okay.
Not sure I want Giannis to go anywhere, because if he's going anywhere, it's probably to the Warriors.
Ooh, that would sting. That would
be rough. There's another 3 titles on the way.
Yeah, I don't hate the Warriors like most people, but I don't want to see that either.
Yeah, I mean, just for the sake of variety.
Yeah. What if LeBron came to the Nuggets now?
Do you really want him at this point? Like, you're about to beat him.
I don't
without
know.
LeBron on your team. So.
Okay. I don't even want LeBron. That's how confident I am.
Washed up. You don't need him.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Anthony Davis team.
What?
It's an Anthony Davis team.
Ooh, Anthony Davis.
Not a LeBron team.
LeBron's got a big are basketball contracts easy to get out of? Are they different than NFL contracts?
Oh, no, they're really easy to get out of because players just bully, and players and their agents just bully teams. Anthony Davis got out of his contract by just, like, sitting out. And they traded him. So.
Worked out, though. Charlotte got a was it Charlotte? It wasn't New Orleans.
Pelicans. New Orleans, yeah. Yeah, they got Brandon Ingram, so. And Lonzo Ball.
Yeah, but who'd they draft?
Lonzo Ball.
No, they got the draft pick.
Zion, yeah. That's a good point.
There we go. Okay, and that will do it for That's Good Basketball, starring Will Keys and his sidekick, Brandon. Come back again later. Good night.
For some hard court.